I've been there so long, I know where they're all buried. I know where the skeletons lie.
Okay.
Let me tell you.
Shut up. Ooh wee.
No, we're not. Yes. We're live now? We're going live. Oh, we are? Yes. Are we live right now? Yes. This second?
Oh. Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
How are you? We're apparently live right now.
I had no
I
idea.
thought she was kidding. Oh, you need to tell us these things.
Usually
Hello.
we have more notice than that.
Yeah. Well, we're a little bit early.
I actually think we're the only ones who know that we're live right now.
Yeah, we probably are. Anyway, we're talking about moving today. And we're talking about moving complaints and
How to
whether or
hire
not
movers.
you've had a bad move, one of your experiences. I want you to share this with anybody who's looking for moving. We get a lot of, we get a lot of moving complaints. We're with the Let Joe Know team, Joe Ducey, Courtney Holmes, producer. We're on every night at 6 on ABC 15, and every Thursday, 12:30, we're here talking to you about a specific topic, and it's moving. We don't hear about the good companies usually. So I'm not going to say, there aren't a lot of good movers out there. We hear about the bad ones and the bad experiences and the stuff being held hostage and the too much money being spent and over the estimate and the damage and not getting, all those things.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, so that's what we hear about. So we are going to be talking about a lot of that stuff. And we want to hear your experiences. If there was a good move, we'd like to hear about it, how it went, what you did that maybe you can help other people with. Decide how they can maybe do a move for the future. If you had a bad move, what happened, and then maybe we can figure out what you did that maybe you wouldn't do next time. Maybe you'd say probably not hire that mover.
And I'm really curious how you found the movers that you used. Whether you had a good or bad experience.
Right.
How did you find those movers? I think that makes a bit of a difference in how your move ends up.
That's the whole thing. In fact, most of what we do here is done beforehand. Is precaution, because you don't want to get in those situations where afterwards it's a mess. So a lot of it is what you do beforehand. We have an expert with us, and I didn't bring the name out. It's Michael Keaton, not the actor. Michael Keaton. I'm sure you get that all the time, Michael. Thanks for being here with the
American Movers and Storage Association.
American Movers and Storage Association. In fact, I think I put their, if you go a little bit further down on one of the posts, I put their web address there. I also put an address for the federal agency that regulates moves.
Interstate.
Interstate, not
Yeah.
intrastate moves. So moves that are done out of from one state to another state.
That's something I think we should touch on. And we'll get into this later, but there is a difference in the companies that move you out of state and the companies that move you within the state. The laws are different, the agencies are different, and the rules are different.
And what rules? There aren't a whole lot of rules. That's the problem, man. This is kind of the Wild West when it comes to
certainly for
moving.
in-state moves.
Yeah,
Here, yeah.
I mean, and we'll go into a little bit of that, but the agency is the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, and there are some precautions that they have that you should do before and after moves. In fact, let's go into a couple of those right now.
Yeah.
Before you move, okay, they suggest, and these are all good ideas, and it's probably a good idea for a lot of, when you're shopping for a lot of things. One is get estimates, get 3 estimates from different places. 3 different movers, compare costs and all of the services to provided by the mover. Obtain the booklet that they have that goes over all of this. Ask for recommendations from neighbors, friends, and relatives regarding the movers, and that's always usually where you get probably the best.
That's where I found my mover.
Did you?
Yep.
We've talked about this before. They have these sites now on a lot of neighborhood sites where, like Nextdoor, I think it's called in our area,
Yep.
where you can go on there and you can find, what people have had good moves, or hey, anybody know a good mover? 5 people say, yeah, these guys are great. I mean, that's always really good. Check out the Better Business Bureau, ripoffreport.com. Find out what the mover's responsibilities are for damage they may occur to your belongings. Ask if the mover has a dispute settlement program. Check to determine whether the interstate mover is registered with the with this federal agency.
It's like the longest name agency.
Yeah.
It's like what, FCM?
No, it's FMCSA. Yeah, you're right.
Yes,
Federal
yeah.
Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
Yes.
Look at that. And has a U.S. DOT number. Okay, if they go from state to state. Find out how and when pickup and delivery of household goods will occur. Ask your mover how they can be contacted before the move, during the move, and after the move. Adequately insure your belongings. I think it's crucial, and maybe, Michael, you can weigh in on this. I don't know if it's still a practice, but I want to have my stuff looked at. When I move, I want to have somebody coming out to my house. I know a lot of this is internet-based now, and how many bedrooms you have, and how many living rooms,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. No, I don't like that, because And maybe I'm old school, but I want somebody to see my stuff and write it up and find out exactly what I have, because there's always that discrepancy about, well, you never told us about that extra china cabinet, if people still have those you had, or extra table or whatever,
Couch or
I'm like, wait a
whatever.
second, we told you that. You said bedroom or whatever. I want it kind of documented. I think the best protection for you as a consumer is to have a written contract here that explains everything, all that you're going to be moving, and what the cost is. Now, it's an estimate, and it possibly can go up, but you will have an idea of what it is. A lot of places, and I was looking through some of these complaints, I pulled a few from the last few months. Some of these complaints are, well, I think I circled one of these, and this is the line I hate to see in any transaction. There was no contract signed by either myself or my daughter. So they made a move without any signed contract. Sometimes you get what you get when that happens.
You just
Yeah.
hoped that these people wouldn't run off with your money.
Yeah.
Or you hoped that they wouldn't damage your stuff.
The other key is when you shop around is looking online for reputations, Go online like the Better Business Bureau and the ripoffreport.com. They'll tell you reputations about businesses.
And this is really because it is so unregulated in this state. This is really when those things like the Better Business Bureau really make a difference
Yeah,
for
that's
you.
true. That's true.
Because you can see what their reviews are. And these companies, they want to keep their reputation good.
Yeah.
If they want to keep their reputation good, they try to address whatever the concerns are that, pop up.
We're pretty relaxed here, as you can see, Courtney and I. It's just got to relax. It's so relaxed that I'm going to leave and turn down this television that's bugging me over here, all right?
Are you connected?
Continue.
No?
No, I'm good. I'll be
He's
right
leaving
back.
me by myself. But so a couple of the things we wanted to talk about, and again, we're going to start with interstate, meaning from state to state, between
hear
states,
this.
not in state, because
turn it down.
you have a
Mine.
few more
cool.
rules and protections and things like that. Like he was saying, one of the things you want to look for, written estimates. You definitely want to get that. Not only do you want to get that,
Right back.
it's required for companies that are regulated and registered with, which your mover should be, the FMCSA. And the legitimate movers that move from state to state are registered with this entity. So you want to get a written statement. It's required. Check on their mover arbitration program. That is required. They have to have it. Written notice about access to the tariff. So how much they charge per pound for certain things. They have to give that to you. And the process for handling claims, they have to give that to you. And that's another issue that, again, this is places that move from state to state, not within the state. We'll get to that in a minute. Again, the rules are very different.
Yeah.
The handling of claims, the whole insurance
You want to do
question.
a couple complaints first and then do that?
Oh,
Or a
do you
couple
have
of
some?
concerns? Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
There are a couple comments here. One is from Stephanie Barnes Gate. My husband and I moved here 2 years ago from Louisville, and we want to move back ASAP because, okay. The problem is we have a big new house with a new pool and a 20-year solar panel lease. We'll never sell our house. Okay. So this doesn't really have as much to do. I understand, let me see. Huge loss with the cost of moving. It just seems overwhelming and impossible. Obviously, we weren't expecting the situation here. So Stephanie's trying to move, but she's going to have a harder time moving because of the solar panel lease. Yeah, Stephanie, I'm sorry that you're moving and that you don't like it here in Arizona. Is there a question there, though? We will never sell our house without taking a huge loss. Yeah, I'm hoping you can sell the house. I would think that solar actually would be a plus for a lot of people. I understand it could go both ways there, but maybe there are some people who really want your house because of the solar. American Movie Association, definitely check the company's ratings with the Better Business Bureau and ask family and friends for referrals. Great advice. And Michael, any talking points that you have here, bring them up. R. Miller, let's see, this is something about missing people. Yeah, we could talk about that maybe another time. All right, we'll go on here though.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the complaints we've seen, because we get a lot of complaints. And I went back just a couple of months, and there were a lot of moving complaints. In fact, we're going to talk to a person later this afternoon. We're going to interview them for a future story. And I think his complaint is here somewhere. He talked about, he hired
This
a moving
one
company.
is so crazy.
Yeah, hired a moving company, doesn't show up on moving day, but sends his crew, who he says tried to extort money from his wife. Now that's a common, if there are problem areas, that's a common problem we see. It's you've reached an agreement, you've signed an estimate,
You've
and
paid.
you've paid a certain amount of money, and then they have all your stuff on the truck, and they say it's going to be another
more.
$2,000 or even $500, whatever it is, more in order for us to unload the stuff. Well, why? What happened? Well, there was this extra taping that we had to do, extra boxes, extra stuff. You know, a lot of bull.
Or even just
Because I want the money.
I want $2,000 more dollars.
So you guys said we don't pay the additional extortion amount, but handed over $1,000 as agreed. They didn't even show up with enough trucks to move us. The next day comes, and I love this, and I get a text from the guy saying, "Move myself, hire my own truck, and he would help us unload." I hired my own movers to move the remaining 60% of property. Now this guy files a lawsuit against me for non-paying, and then threatens me for not paying. So he's in the middle of this whole huge dispute. He's gone to all of these agencies. And you know, the problem is there really isn't if you have an interstate move, yeah, you can get these guys involved, but I can't imagine that they're that staffed where they could look at each individual complaint. It used to be that in the state of Arizona, they had a great organization, and they're still together, the Department of Weights and Measures.
They just don't handle moving complaints anymore.
But because of the last administration here, or the current administration, they broke it up, and they moved parts to this, parts to that, parts to that. So the part that moved to
the moving part moved to the Department of Public Safety.
Department of Public Safety.
There's
just a small little group here and there. It's a huge
not
group.
even a
So,
little group.
I mean, what's
It's
the
one
priority-
guy.
What's the priority going to be here? Is your moving complaint going to be a priority to DPS? No. I mean, I think the guy who does it is going to probably do a great job as much as he can. But it's like one person in that department, isn't it?
Yeah, from
Who's
what I
actually
understand,
doing
yes.
the work? I
Yeah.
mean, that's tough. The Department of
Who, by the way, we actually invited the trooper, the one trooper who handles moving complaints and things for the state,
he's got to be a busy guy.
and we never heard back from him.
Yeah. So anyway, we wanted him to be here, but the Department of Weights and Measures is very sad because they used to have a guy, JJ Stroh, used to go out and he was great, and that department was wonderful, and they would go out to everybody's home and try to help them. And what they could do is really help with the weight issue, because a lot of times they try to get extra money by saying it weighs more.
Right.
So this guy, JJ, would actually follow an inspector. We'd follow him, taking the truck down and forcing this guy who's on a schedule or wherever he's doing to weigh his stuff, and then find out what it versus what they paid for it. Would find out many times it didn't weigh nearly what these guys thought it weighed. And so it's sad that department has been broken up, and hopefully DPS can do some work and they can actually, go out and see your complaints and those kinds of things.
Now, something else too that I want to bring up: it is illegal for these companies to hold your stuff until you give them more money. It's illegal. Call the police. It happens when we would go out with JJ. One of the things he would do is involve the police in it and let them know these people are holding my stuff hostage. Get that on record. That way they can come out and and find out who these people are, who do they work for, and you have more of a leg to stand on should you end up having to go to court or things like that, because they could turn around and sue you, just like it happened with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because in the state there just isn't police, they've got a lot going on. I mean, what's the priority of, hey, I've got somebody who's moving me and not doing it the right way. It's tough to get, I think, the attention of a lot of enforcement agencies, which was why it was so great to have this department.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go on here.
You want to look at some comments?
Yeah, what do we have? J.J. Mills, moving here was a breeze except dealing with DMV. Took 5 hours, okay. Jennifer Williams, I moved from Atlanta 2 years ago. Husband got a truck from Budget, and a friend helped him move stuff from storage there to Phoenix. My husband is the most responsible mover I've ever seen. Has a God-given ability for it. Jennifer, that's great. So you guys did your own move, is that what you're saying? That's great, and I'm sure you saved some money there. Julie Cowan, my father I moved to an apartment. It's in, okay. Manager lied. All right, so
We have some stuff from American Moving and Storage Association.
right.
Quite
so
a
we're
few
getting, We're getting a
things.
lot of complaints about people moving, not necessarily movers. People who aren't happy here and moving, people who've got, yeah, this is sad. Julie, the father of the roach-infested apartment, moving. But we're really going to try to talk about movers and mover experiences here if we can. As for that, that's interesting about the infestation of roaches in the talking to the manager. I might be interested in that, Julie. if you have a little bit more information for us. If you want to write me at joe@abc15.com, maybe we could take a look at that and see what we can do. All right. Do you have something else there?
Yeah, the American Moving and Storage Association has quite a bit to say.
Okay.
Always be sure you know who's moving your household goods, and then he gives some warning signs to watch out for. No physical or local address, no federal motor
idea.
carrier
Yeah.
number, which shows they're registered with the local government for a state-to-state move. And I think that is a good tip for local moves too. If they don't have a physical address where you can show up and complain to somebody
Yeah.
and direct correspondence and things like that, I would think twice before hiring them.
You know, I think that in any time you hire somebody, if you can, it's an extra work, but so many times they don't have an address. They're just kind of hiding behind, this internet. And if you can actually go out there and find and see what they do and that kind of thing, that would be probably your best bet.
Something else, he says, poor online ratings with the Better Business Bureau or Angie's List. That's another one to look at, which we haven't really gotten into using Angie's List.
Well, Angie's List used to be, I think they just took it away.
Right,
But I guess
it used to
be
cost.
it used to
Yeah.
cost, so I didn't really advise it for consumers.
Yeah, we'll have to get into that more.
But now it doesn't have that.
Refuses to visit your home for a written estimate. Provides an unusually high or unusually low estimate compared to the other estimates. Get estimates in writing from at least 3 different moving companies. And that makes all the sense in the world.
Right.
Get this stuff in writing. And we'll go into estimates and what the different types of estimates and what's binding and why they can or can't charge you more in a little bit.
The,
He has a few more things.
yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. Provides an unusual. Oh, I said that one already.
the
Asks
rest of these?
for a large down payment or full payment in advance. A reasonable down payment should be in the hundreds of dollars toward your state-to-state move, rarely exceeding 20%. Asks for cash payment rather than being paid by credit card. Unmarked generic trucks that do not have a company name on them. Seems uncertain or won't give you answers, especially about the claims process if something gets lost or damaged.
Why do I not see all these?
And when we get these complaints, everything he's saying here is what is in this complaint.
Yeah, no,
You
all
know,
the complaints are like, why don't I see
Or
more of these
exactly
here?
like what he's saying here.
Why don't I see more of these here? Is that my deal?
Oh.
Go back. Anyway, as Courtney tries to figure that out, we'll keep going
Scroll.
here. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's go through Beth Line Sorensen. I'll move myself, hire workers to load and unload. Okay. Karen Schumann, you say this, moved from New York or North Carolina. Got a quote from one of the larger moving companies for
Let me take this
16.
one, 'cause I'm not sure what's going on there.
Do you have one?
Yeah.
$16,000. And I just lost it. $16,000. I think it was laughable, is what she says.
$16,000
Yeah.
for what?
Well, I don't know what she had.
Oh
Let's
my
see.
gosh. Who was
I'm gonna
that?
find out more.
Beth?
Let's see. It just moved on me and I can't see it.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I messed you up.
No. That's easy to do here. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was $16,000, and then she said she got another quote and it was less than that. So that's a key. I mean, how can one be, $16,000? I don't know what the last one was. It'd be interesting to find out a little bit more.
Yeah, and it depends.
Oh,
Oh,
that was
it was
Karen.
Karen.
Yeah.
It popped up at the same
They're
time.
just like all over the place.
Yeah.
Is it saying moving can be rough? We did it 22 years ago. I too have had my regrets. I had the philosophy, bloom where you're planted, make lots of good friends. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Jesus asks, what's wrong with Angie's List, Joe? Nothing's wrong with Angie's List. We just aren't very familiar with it. We haven't used it as often as some.
I love. This is a lot of people talking about just moving, getting
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
here. Wilda Combs. Hey, Joe.
I didn't anticipate that.
Missy here in Tucson, going back to California ASAP. Okay. All right, Wilda. I know we lived in California a while. It was a nice place, definitely. Jesus Gonzo. Okay, you guys are talking about sports here. That's great. Let's see what we got.
Some of the other things that I wanted to bring up with local movers, like we were saying before, or rather like the American Association of Movers and
Shakers.
I'm sorry, Michael. Your name's so long.
It's movers and shakers, isn't it?
American Moving and Storage Association. Sorry about that. Anyway, like they were saying, the written estimates and things like that. there are different types of estimates. And you have your written estimate, which people ideally would come out if you are moving from state to state and you are within 50 miles of that company. They'll come out, look at your stuff, say, okay, here's how much it is. And that written estimate is, for the most part, binding. And then unless you add things, and they can't charge you more until they, well, they can charge you more until they load. So once they load, that's
Yeah,
it.
you know, I could see where, you know, if that's why I want people out there to see it, because I could see if you give them a certain amount and you're kind of under saying what you have.
Yeah.
And then they bring all your stuff on the truck and they're like, wait, this is double what you said it was going to be. I could see how that would go up.
Yeah, because there's a
But,
responsibility on your end
Right.
to provide the proper information so
Yeah.
that they can give you an accurate estimate. The other type of estimate is the binding estimate, and that is, this is how much it's going to cost. It's not going to go over unless you add stuff. If you add stuff, that will change the price. Otherwise, this is it. And then you have the non-binding, which is supposed to be reasonably accurate. And
What's
it says
you
that
know,
they
it's
can't
so
charge
gray.
you more than within 110%.
Reasonably accurate.
Well, they define what the reasonableness is, and that's more than, or rather 110% of the estimate.
Okay.
And again, that's from state to state. But I think that these rules you should apply to your move within the state as well. If you're moving from Gilbert to Peoria or wherever.
Which a lot of people do. They're smaller
Right,
moves. Yeah.
right. You need to apply these rules to your local stuff too, because they're common sense. They are fair.
Yeah.
And will probably help you to find a mover that will take care of you and your stuff.
And we talked to I recently just talked to a person, actually our volunteer team, the Assistance League, helped a person get some money back from a company.
Yeah.
Did it a little differently. They decided to have kind of like a pod thing. Basically, they had their stuff moved into a container. The container then was delivered to the home, and then they were supposed to, the homeowner was supposed to bring it out. But what happened was, in transit, whatever was carried in was, you know, all over the place, I guess. They couldn't even open the door to it, so all the stuff had been moved and in some cases broken and damaged, and then we had to go through all that process.
And but did you talk about how they were able to help them?
Yeah,
Okay.
they were able to get him back. He was supposed to get, I think, $6,500. They got him $13,000. So he got some of that money back. He still thinks he should get more.
And
but
the important part of that is this was a legitimate
yeah,
moving company
yeah.
who had a process for how to get these things done. Now, the process wasn't being followed, but eventually it was. If you end up with a fake moving company, there is no process, and you won't be getting anything
You know,
back.
and then we haven't even talked about brokers. Basically, brokers online, in many cases. Maybe Michael can talk about this. You don't know if you're not really getting in touch with the actual
don't know who
mover.
you're getting,
You're
yeah.
actually getting in touch with somebody who's the middleman, who's going to find you a moving company. So you're paying this through this broker. That's your contact. You really don't know who the mover is going to be because the broker isn't giving you all that information, and the broker's somewhere in New Jersey, and the mover's in Arkansas, and you know you can't really deal with them. So to me, I would try to avoid some of the middlemen and the brokers, and I get right to the heart, you know, the movers. I wanted to go over a couple of the complaints that we had here too. Just get through these. So we talked about we didn't specifically talk about it. Let's talk about the stuff being held hostage. I hired a moving company, contents in my apartment. I did some homework, went on Consumer Affairs websites. They had great reviews, gave me the best of 3 quotes. They came out late on this day and refused to take my belongings unless I paid double.
Wow.
Double what she was supposed to pay in that case. So she had already paid, I guess,
Did she pay?
$1,356. Yeah.
She paid?
No, she didn't pay the extra money. She had already paid, and then she refused to pay the rest, so she needs our help.
Oh, she still doesn't have her
Still
stuff.
doesn't have it.
Okay.
Yeah. This one was
Yikes.
damaged. A couple of these are, let me see if there's another hostage one in here real quick. Yeah.
That's by far the
Well, that's the one we talked about
biggest
earlier.
one we get, is the
Yeah.
hostage one.
Yeah. This one was, this person says they were overcharged. After the movers loaded up the vehicle and got to the storage unit, they told my daughter she owes them, this woman couldn't be here, her daughter was there, owes them $406. She told the mover she didn't have it. They ended up going to an ATM, which is kind of weird if you're following you to an ATM and you have
Yeah,
to pay the money.
yeah.
After the furniture was put in storage and locked up, my daughter gave them the extra money. So now the price went from 170 to 406 to 466. And that's the person who didn't have the contract.
Yeah.
Damage. There's another thing that we see, and that's tough too. We haven't really gotten into that about the insurance and some of these I think companies, and I can't remember specifically, but I think some base it, if you really look at it, base it on weight, and will pay you a certain amount of money. And maybe Michael, you can get into what the insurance is on this. Maybe you could buy extra insurance. I think that's available. But otherwise, it would be by weight, like I don't know, 20 cents a pound.
It's 60 cents a pound.
60 cents a pound. Okay. So I mean that's tough, man. If you've got some really nice piece of furniture. You get what, $50?
If that.
If that, I mean 60 cents, it could be anything. So that you really have to think about what you have and if you want to accept that kind of insurance. Damage. When I moved to Phoenix, I had a moving company come out, destroy the hardwood floors in my house. Given a quote $2,000, I was promised that insurance would reimburse me for the damage. Went to the website to claim. It required identification numbers that I was never given. This person went to hire a moving company. Talks about, let's see, had to pay, okay, when approached about the condition of a brand new refrigerator that now looks like a car ran over it, they offered us $150 to settle and go away. While normally we would feel that the general public needs to be aware of these idiots, they tell you one thing and do another, so that was her complaint. They don't give you enough, that the refrigerator is worth much more than $150. And then we went back to this other one. So yeah, that's a few.
Well, something I wanted to touch on with insurance, there's different types. There's the full replacement, which basically it costs more. It's going to make your move go up. Sometimes the movers offer that. Sometimes you can get it third party, but the mover has to replace or repair your item or pay you for the cost of the item.
Yeah, I would
Again,
think
that's pretty expensive.
and you have to
but
wonder if it's current replacement cost.
those are
or
things
if
you have to
it's-
look into.
Yeah.
Yep, and deductibles. So, I mean, it's insurance.
Yeah.
That's how insurance works. And then you have the waiver of full insurance, which is what you were talking about, that 60 cents
Yeah.
per pound.
Yeah.
Which, quite honestly, that's a joke.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Are you kidding me?
I know. Let's read because I'm trying to see if the Michael's commenting on it. Let me go through
Yeah,
this couple of
Michael's
these.
gone through quite a few.
Did this talk about moved here from Louisville? Okay, not that one. Let me just do some comparison shopping. We talked about that. Always be sure you went through the long one there. I'm in the process of finding a mover now. This is Beth. And I've reviewed hundreds of calls from scam artist movers making tons of promises for deposits. They haven't even seen my furnishings. Jennifer Williams. I moved from Atlanta 2 years ago. Did we read that? Oh, my husband got a truck. Oh, we read that one. The husband actually is the one who moved her in that case. You read about fake movers, right? From the American Moving Association. Sometimes fake movers will quote you a low price. Then once they have your possessions, demand a higher price. You didn't
We
read
haven't
that
read
yet.
that.
And then what they quoted, this is called a hostage load, and if that happens, contact the police immediately, as Courtney was talking about, the police. There was a moving company, Kimberly says there was a moving company in Arizona that has destroyed everything. They put together this and had horrible experience. Kimberly, I'd like to know about that. So write us at joe@abc15.com. I don't know if it's current or you still have a problem with it, but it'd be interesting to, and if you want to post a little bit more about what happened, I'd be interested in that too.
Real quick, I wanted to say, when you have those hostage loads, don't wait. Don't wait till the next day. Don't wait till the next hour. Call the cops immediately.
And
because once
yeah.
they're gone, you're out of luck.
I'd
at
also
that
get my
point.
camera out. I'd be,
Yep.
I'd be doing video of
Yep.
the car, the person, ask for the ID. Just make it tough on them. Get the stuff in the back. And I know it's tough. Moving is tough. You've done it. How was your experience, in fact, when you moved? You moved, what, a year ago, 2 years ago?
I
3
was
years ago,
moving
4
every
years?
6 months for a while, but I used the same guy, and he's great. As long as you're accurate about the stuff that you have, at this point he knows all my stuff.
Right.
But as long as you're accurate about the stuff that you have, the rate is
So you use
great.
the ABC 15 thing, right? You tell them where you work.
No,
Say,
he
"Hey,
doesn't
you
know
what?"
where he doesn't know where I work.
He does now. They work on
He
Facebook.
knows where I used to live, but he doesn't actually. He knows
We won't
all
mention
about
his
where I
name.
live. But
no damage, and he's the kind of guy you can go
no,
to.
he's great, and it's his retirement job.
Yeah.
So it's him, and
Yeah.
I think he has like his son and his son's kids
Okay,
that
that's cool.
do it with him.
Like a family business?
Yeah, yeah.
One of the best stories I think we've done in the last couple of years, we did a story where it was a local company, and they were taking advantage of a number of people, and it was one of these hostage things where they were saying, we're not going to unload your stuff unless you pay us a certain amount of money. Well, there was a pretty industrious woman who wrote us and said, you know, I'm not going to, it's ridiculous. I shouldn't have to do this. They say that it took, the company was basically saying it took like, I forgot how many hours. Crazy amount of hours to move
14.
it. 14. And they were basing, 14 hours to move her. And they were moving her across town.
Literally.
So yeah, it was
like
across town.
5 miles.
Yeah, and these people had friends that came in and they boxed up all their stuff. They did all that themselves. So it was just literally the move. So, you know, we confronted the company, and they've been in trouble since. But the next thing we did was we asked a different company. I wanted to see, because I was tired of all this, you know, crud about people saying it takes so long to move these places. I wanted to find out actually how long would it take to move. So the woman agreed, and we had another company, and we did the move again. They pulled the truck up. This good company pulled the truck up. Their workers went out, and they did it the exact same way.
We
took
timed
all
it.
the stuff back, put in the truck. We timed it. Put all the stuff back in. We timed it. What did it come out to? 4?
It was
6?
like
4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours.
And they were
versus the
charged for like 14
hours
yeah.
that they said. So we rubbed that in their face, and I just wanted to show people, because a lot of times it's our word against theirs or your word against theirs. Yeah, it took that long. No, it didn't. I mean, we proved that basically, no, it doesn't take that long. So I think during a move, you need to be there. You need to be there during that move to find out how your stuff's being treated, how long it's taken. If it takes a stopwatch, I mean, you know, if the people are sitting down and they're getting paid by the hour, that's another thing you need to know. They get some moving companies have moved to being paid by the hour instead of, like this one did, instead of per load.
Yeah.
So if it takes them, you know, 10 hours or 20 hours, they're going to, you know, I would guess that if they're not a good company, they're going to push it and try to get as many hours as they can. So I guess there are pros and cons to whether you want per hour or per load. Let's see if we have Peggy, moved my 8 horses. Wow, she moved horses. Peggy Burke from Maryland 7 years ago. Furniture went with the movers and was placed in storage in the moving company for a month. They brought my furniture out to me on Christmas Eve. The movers were awesome, both here and there. Okay, very stressful time, great experience. Loves living here. All right, Peggy. We had a couple people not want to be here. Peggy wants to be here. Beth said she's in Florida and wants to come back, something like that. So that's great.
Maybe not right now. It's really humid right now.
Yeah. You want to come back about Halloween.
Yes, October. It's the best
Folks,
month.
isn't it Halloween when the
the
weather
best
turns?
month.
It is. I mean, people
really
say,
is.
oh no, September's great. And okay, the nights in September are great. I mean, they get down
It's
to
still
where
hot in September.
it's hot during the day, I know. And if at night though, I can take the heat in the day if I can get the coolness at night. September a little better. We talking about weather now though, or are we talking
I
about
know.
moving?
Oh, well, if you want to move, maybe
I
October
digress.
is the time to do it. Just
October,
saying.
no, it's October 31st. That's when it breaks, man. November, and then it's back what, like April or March? Okay.
Okay. So American Moving and Storage Association, I'm going to get that down in one take here
Yes.
pretty soon. They had a few things that you were talking. Interstate movers.
Okay.
This is from state to state.
Right.
Must provide the cost of full value protection insurance for your possessions in their estimates. We definitely recommend insuring all of your goods versus the basic 60 cents per pound insurance. Your 20-pound TV is worth more than $12.
Yeah. Kevin, you're right. Michael, you're right. You have to think. I mean, I guess that's just, you wonder about I'm throwing this at you, Michael, but you wonder about the responsibility of the moving company. And why should I have to buy extra insurance if you're not you, Michael, but if the company's not doing their job? I mean, what if they're, you know what I'm saying?
If you lost or broke my stuff, why not just do the right
Why don't
thing?
you just pay us instead of me having to buy extra insurance so in case your guys screw it up and mess it up? I almost think that should be a company responsibility.
I think playing devil's advocate, because the rules say that your stuff's only worth 60 cents a pound.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's another thing about, well, what do you exactly have? It's kind of like airlines. I always wonder about that when you lose something on an airline luggage. Well, I had this and I had that. Well, the airline doesn't know that, and how can you?
Right. Well, I didn't know I was going to have to prove to somebody what I had and didn't have.
If you were the kind of person who had a lot of time on your hands, and I know none of you do, but if you did, you would go and take pictures of every single item that you're going to move. so that people would know, and like numbers on the back of appliances or refrigerators, and it says how old it is and how. That would be great, or if you have kids, why do we have kids? So they can work for us. That's what you do. Send them around with a camera. Have
They're
them do
not
that
working the
on
farm.
a
They can
weekend.
start taking pictures in
Right.
the house.
No longer do we work on farms, man. We're just sitting around.
Now, you brought up something that I wanted to. We've actually done a story at the Insurance Institute. It's iii.org.
Yeah.
They have this app where you can take pictures of all the stuff in your house and serial
Yeah.
numbers and receipts
Mostly
and all those
for,
different things.
flooding or
and it's
fire,
for insurance purposes.
Yeah.
But they could be used in this case.
Yeah.
You've already, you know what you've put on. You're supposed to have this bill of lading that says exactly what's on there. If you did that before, maybe you could use those pictures and that information for your claim.
I love, this is this Robert Prieto? I have a big family, so they're always willing to help me pack and move, and when we're done, all they ask in return is a hefty cookout, wine, and beer.
Sounds like you and your my patio.
That's what I tell them. I said, we'll all come over and help you with your patio. You just have to have
He wants
a party.
beer and pizza. Nobody's going to get anything
Beer
done
and
with beer and
pizza.
pizza. Also, I've done that whole
You just have
your
to-
friends come by and drink and help you move. Guess what?
It takes
takes
off like this.
hours.
It's like,
I'd
you don't,
rather
need,
pay
you don't
somebody.
need any leveler. What are you talking about? I see that it's straight there.
I'd
Okay.
rather pay somebody. Okay, Howard Tanner.
Mm-hmm.
Our $2,500 move quickly escalated to almost $5,000 when we were halfway loaded, citing a wrong count on the boxes. Then wanted $250 more for using extra space.
No
When his
way.
assistant says, "Thanks for the tip." He effing lied to us.
Okay.
I am
Can we say
sorry.
that on Facebook?
Effing?
Effin? I think so.
Well, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not the actual word.
Now
Well, that-
we're making a bigger
and
deal.
no, that's what he spells out
Yeah,
here.
I know.
Anyway, Howard,
Kate, hello.
please tell me
My
you did
daughter's on.
not pay that extra $2,500. Please tell me,
Thanks
Howard.
for what? That's a line of the day.
Thanks for the tip. I got
Thanks
a
for the
tip
tip.
for you. I'm calling
Yeah.
the cops
When
right
I
now.
When I want to take some money from somebody, that's what I think I'm going to do. Thanks for the tip. We'll call it a tip. And if you don't disagree with me, that's what it was. Okay, do you read this? Some movers are now, this is from American Moving and Storage. Some movers are also now offer estimates based on videos and photos that you could submit online.
Oh, no.
Right from the comfort of your own home. That's great. Make sure you show the mover everything that needs to be moved from the attic to the basement, include any sheds, garages, and storage areas. You want to make sure the mover has a complete picture of everything that will be moved to get the most accurate estimate possible. I totally agree with that. Because I'm not just saying that, that there are bad movers out there. There are also bad customers who could try to pull one on you, and try to
Yes.
get some stuff moved that they never said was going to be part of the
Right.
move. I get it. So it's got to be, as long as everything's kind of transparent. Sherilyn, you got a great name.
Is it a
Ford,
good
I'll just
news
say.
name?
A great middle name. But I'll
Okay.
say Sherilyn. No, the best news name,
Oh, here we go.
Stick Bogart. Stick, I hope you're on Facebook. Great guy. He has a lot of good information. Stick Bogart, ABC 15 News. That's the best.
It's a phenomenal name.
Never use a moving company again. This one, she had a bad experience with one. Greedy for more money. They move all your boxes around at least 4 to 5 times before it gets to your location. I was told someone tried to steal my TV while loading. I don't know who she was told from. I was told one price and went up 3 times before I left Kansas City. Okay, that was a bad experience. If you have good experiences too, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
I have a question for the American Moving Storage Association. With some of the interstate moves, they will take your stuff and then put it in storage for a while and like wait for other customers who might be headed that way.
Yeah.
How does that work? Is that a legitimate way
I
for
guess it makes some
businesses to
sense.
operate, or
Yeah.
is it a broker that's organizing this? How does that typically work? And then it takes like 6
Yeah.
or 7 weeks to get your stuff.
Oh, that
and,
that
and then
sucks,
it's
but
like
it's-
you thought they were coming this day, but we're waiting on
I
the
do
rest of that
see-
load.
I do see most of the trucks. Well, I see this only because we follow with JJ so many trucks that you can see they have different moves in the trucks. They may have 3 or 4 You know, and they know where they're going to go. So in the back of the truck, they have one's going to be in, like, say, Flagstaff, and in
Yeah.
the front, Tucson. So they go Tucson to Phoenix to Flagstaff. But yeah, keeping it in storage for that period of time, unless you're going to give me a heck of a deal, you know.
Oh, that's what they did when I moved from New Orleans to Las Vegas. That's what happened.
long did
with,
it take you?
with-
How long?
oh, it was weeks. It was
Weeks
like
before you
8
got-
weeks. Yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! So you actually moved and stayed in your place with nothing for 8 weeks?
Well, I was living with someone else.
Yeah.
But
Wow,
I would have had to if my friend didn't live there. Yeah.
that's crazy talk.
Yeah. Well, and I don't. That kind of
Unless you paid
made
like
me.
$50 and then. 8
No,
weeks.
no,
Okay.
the company paid for the move, but
Okay.
that's what really got my attention with
Yeah.
moving companies. And I'm like, is this how all of them operate?
Yeah.
At that time, I now know that,
Yeah.
you know, all of them don't operate like that. But
Yeah.
at the time, it was concerning for me.
Because you were so young and naive.
Yes.
You're still young.
Though not
See, I
so
just said
naive.
naive. That's because you're working here. Let's see. Tammy moved here 13 years ago from Chicago. Never regretted it. No problems with movers. Picked up and delivered all my stuff on time and in perfect shape. Great, Tammy. And I'm sure Michael loves to hear that. She goes on rather. Only thing I regret is moving into a stucco house, which is common here. You know what? That's enough. We should have a stucco house conversation too. But I guess it must be the best for the heat. I don't know. But to have
I've
chicken
heard
wire
an
and styrofoam is
explanation
kind of
at one
interesting.
point, but
Yeah.
I think it didn't make sense, so my brain didn't retain it.
Yeah. American Moving and Storage. Now I know how your brain works. I wondered. American Moving and Storage Association. Great tip, Ryan. Real estate agents are a great source of referrals. That's true. Real estate agents. 'Cause they know.
Except for in
Unless they're
that
getting
one
paid
that
off
you
by
just
the-
talked about. Because didn't his agent refer him
Was it? I
to?
can't remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do that story pretty soon here. We
we'll
just
know
got to
about it.
put all the pieces together.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
How can you be sure a mover isn't going to hijack your furniture for more money? What can be done to prevent this? You know, Michael, that's a good question maybe for you. I don't know if you can know, other than trying to do your homework beforehand and trying to see if it's happened before. You know, people are so, the internet, I mean, it's just such a great tool for what we need as consumers. I mean, most people, when they have a problem now, not most, many people who are computer savvy, internet are on a lot, will get on here and
Yep.
say, these guys are a problem, these guys are a problem. And you'll see that. There are posting sites like ripoffreport.com, Consumer Affairs, Better Business Bureau will have it too. You can look up all that stuff beforehand, because I think if a company's doing that, you're going to find out online.
Yeah, the problem is we don't do our research before
Right.
we get tangled up with these companies that didn't mean to do the job well anyway. You have to do the research before. And if you can't find anything on them, move on to someone that you can. And move on to somewhere a company that seems to at least try to take accountability for
Yeah.
things. People are going to make mistakes. Companies are going to make mistakes. Customers are going to make mistakes. But if they are attempting to fix it and you can find evidence of that, then maybe that's a company you want to look into getting.
And the American Moving, Michael with American Moving and Storage Association writes, Beth, make sure you're working with a professional moving company. Most hijack situations involve criminals pretending to be movers. If you're not sure you're working with a professional, you can check out our list of certified movers at www.moving.org, and I've got that on the Facebook page too. If your items are hijacked, contact the police immediately, as he said. You know, Michael, weigh in about brokers too. I mean, is it a
I
good
think
idea? Did he? Okay.
he says something about
Not your, well, you know. Be present to answer questions and give directions to the movers. Stay until they finish. Accompany the movers as they inventory your house. In other words, don't let the movers out of your sight, I think is what they're saying.
state moves, particularly in-state moves, because we don't have regulation here, so we don't really have anywhere to go to find out, okay, what do I do? Where do I start? What questions do I ask? And that's a good place to start. Protectyourmove.gov.
I wanted to go through just a couple of these to get them on before we leave, because thanks for being part of this. And it's going to be on the Facebook page for a while, so yeah, I think that Michael's done a great job of answering some questions. And if you know of anybody who is moving, or you're planning on moving in the future, or you do move, you know, you may want to go back and just see what he said about this, or contact him through the moving.org. Let's see, Sherilyn, moving companies are fakes. Okay, talked about that with Sherilyn. Anna Enriquez Robinson loves it, moved her from the East Coast. Howard Tanner.
We read him.
You already read Howard? Rosemary Baker? Summers are hot, okay. American Moving, interstate movers must provide the cost of full value protection. You already read that, right? Yes. Dean, sorry, we're going over a few of these, but I want to make sure they all get on. Dean Spurlock, Deanne, rather. What needs to be addressed is how landlords have become, okay, talking about landlords. We will address that at some point, Deanne. Get back with us. We have done landlord tenants here before in the past. What's this?
Cher Horowitz. Is that really your name? Cher Horowitz, like from Clueless? Anyway, whenever I need
Is
to
that the,
move, I
Freedom
just
one?
find a temporary boyfriend, post-move, single, and ready to mingle again.
Okay, that's funny.
That is the best tip of the day. Thank you, Cher.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Cher. If that's your real name. Always make sure you know who is moving your household goods. Communication is key, so make sure the mover has your cell phone number to reach you during the move. Also make sure you have the driver's full name and truck number. You might have already read that.
No, I didn't. It's good information.
Can we mention names of the companies? Yeah, we try not to, Howard. I mean, if you want to, fine, but you know, we probably won't read them here. Paula Beecher, talked about landlords and apartments.
I can't get any more comments on here. I'm you today.
No, I'm usually.
What
I'm
is
the old
going
guy sitting
on?
here like, what's going on with this thing?
I have like
Courtney's over there
5 comments
I got
here.
everything here. Here, you can start
Oh,
right
no,
here.
no. I think I don't have my Wi-Fi up.
American
That's why.
Moving and Storage. Before you sign it with a moving company, get all the agreements in writing. Read. If we've read this, I want to say it again because this is key.
No, you haven't. Go ahead.
Read everything carefully and make sure you have copies of everything you sign, especially the most important document, the bill. And then it says bill of lading, okay, which is the receipt for the goods and the contract for the transportation. Never sign. This is great.
Oh my gosh,
and this
yes.
this is with any contract. If it's a car, if it's whatever you're buying, never sign any blank forms. Never sign any forms that have blank spaces.
Ever.
Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions about anything you don't understand. If the moving company can't or won't answer questions, you might want to look for another mover. Movers customarily take every precaution to make sure that while your shipment is in the possession of items or if they're lost, damaged, or destroyed, you know, so that they're not lost, damaged, or destroyed. Despite their efforts, articles sometimes are lost or damaged during the move. I don't think you read this either. So I'll go ahead. If any of your household goods are damaged or lost, report the facts promptly and in detail on the van driver's copy, original of the inventory sheets before you sign it. Then file your claim in writing with your mover for any loss of damage that occurred or if you wish to dispute the additional charges that applied for your move. If you are unable to get your claim with your mover settled to your satisfaction, you can use arbitration. And I think they have arbitration through moving.org. And I have, I guess, mixed feelings about that. I mean, it's sometimes arbitration I think is a great thing to offer, Michael. You also have the possibility, if you sign arbitration, that means you're not going to try to sue them,
Right.
correct? So you don't have the ability, just know that, you don't have the ability to then take them to court if it doesn't work out the way you want.
And
I think.
honestly, you could have signed away that right in the contract that you signed anyway.
Okay, yeah.
So another reason to read the contract. Are you bound to arbitration if something happens to your stuff and insurance didn't cover it or you're not happy with it? Something else to look into.
All right. Movers customarily take every precaution to make sure that while your shipment is in their possession, I already read all that. I'm not going to go through that again. All right, Wendy Fry, thank you. Move from Phoenix. Here, it's your turn.
What?
You got better.
I have better eyes, but I have fewer
Oh,
comments.
okay. We're right around Wendy.
Are you serious?
I'll do it. I'm helping. See, I'm going to get you part of this. We can equal. I thought I was hogging all the time here.
No.
Okay.
Please continue.
Continue. You just read Cher.
I really want to hear from
They
Cher.
called me from my
wanna
storage
know if
place,
she's
said
okay.
it's rainy and water got in, so how is it my fault? Oh, this is from Normita Linda. They called me from my storage place to say it rained. Oh, I don't know if this, you had to move and they stored it in the facility. There was rain, got in your stuff, but facility is in error. She thinks I have no insurance. Are they liable anyway? You know, it probably depends on what you sign. If it's a storage facility or if it's with the moving company to put it there, it probably depends on what the contract says. I would think that if it's a water issue involving that facility, that the facility is responsible for it and that you have some protection in that contract. But if you sign something that says that that we are not responsible for any damage to your stuff, regardless of weather conditions, then, you may have a problem with that. But
A lot of storage places offer insurance too for that reason.
Yeah, but you know what?
I
Okay,
know it
I
may
know,
not be
I know.
fair,
I
but
don't think it's fair. I mean, I don't think you should have to buy extra insurance to make sure your stuff's safe at a place. There should be a belief that your stuff is going to be safe, and if there's an issue, they're going to take care of it. I could see maybe a basic coverage for that, and then you could buy more, but there should be some level of coverage from the facility. Whether or not there is, I don't know, but that's something you might be able to fight. And also, write me, Joe at abc15.com, because if your stuff's damaged and it was water, I'd be interested in looking at that. Both of us would. Joe at abc15.com. All right. Barbara says, when you move, you get a total amount. Okay. When you move, get a total amount and not an hourly rate. So she says, and Michael, weigh in on this too, if you would, whether or not this hourly is a better deal than the amount. I could see pros and cons of both, but I think I'd go with the weight, because the hourly can be, kind of gray. Oh, it's taking, if they're slower, are they slow on purpose? I don't want any of that. I just want to know I'm going to be paying this amount for the weight.
I think interstate is completely weight-based.
Is it?
Though.
Okay.
Because
Tell
they
me
have
that.
to weigh
Yeah,
at
you
the
would
weigh
think so, too.
stations and all that.
Maybe it's just intrastate.
Yeah.
In the state they can offer the hourly, but I'd be interested in knowing that. So anyway, good advice, Barbara. Mason, when you move, get a total amount, hourly rate. Doesn't go with the hourly rate, is what she says. I've never seen move so slowly. Cost a fortune. So basically, she had the slowest. I'm sure the company had the slowest movers possible out there. They're getting the hourly rate.
And then asked you for water.
And then said, yeah.
Do you have
And
any
then said,
lemonade? I'm kidding.
lunch is included in that, I think. Yeah. Okay, we're not going to read about Democrats and Republicans. We don't go there. American Moving Storage. Work with your moving company so you know the delivery options and agree with them on the delivery date or the time frame in which the goods should be delivered. Michael Koenig. I've moved across country 4 times and used a company. We haven't mentioned companies, but you can read it there if you want, to get movers to load, unload, driving the truck myself. Okay, so that's a different way. The way I heard it was they would deliver the stuff and you would move it in. He's saying that they load it and you drive it. You use U-Haul. Okay, but it's a company called eMove.
It sounds a lot better than
You use U-Haul
me
or
doing it.
Hertz. You want to take it, well, especially if it's in state. You are U-Haul or Hertz, and that's what they used, and the mover just packs a truck. That really only works on moves which a 24-foot truck can handle, not a semi or something like that. Yeah, you don't want to be driving a semi down. Well, you couldn't. Can I
No,
check
you
your
need a
license,
CDL
sir?
for that.
No. I got a motorcycle license? All right, please make me understand. Okay. American Moving and Storage. Definitely do your research so you know who's moving your household goods. Most consumers don't hire movers very often. Right.
so true.
Yeah, with years between moves, so they're less aware of warning signs to avoid. Very good. And the industry progresses and things happen, and bad companies, certain scams develop that maybe you didn't have to deal with years ago because things have changed.
But there's no substitute for looking this stuff up, looking
Ahead
these
of time.
companies up. There's
Ahead
no
of time.
substitute
Man,
for it.
It's just as much stuff as you can do ahead of time, as many people as you can talk to beforehand. I just see such problem afterwards. Now, you could still have issues, but man, yeah, I think there'd be so fewer of them. Lucinda, great. Good afternoon from Tucson. Have a blessed afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
And we will do our very best.
Let's see. My son's moved to Texas, went to move, but I hate the, okay. Hate the heat.
American Moving and Storage Association, apparently they have some, there's a link here about their arbitration services, but is that only for the companies that are a part of the association, or is that in general? I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Because
not all movers are part
Right.
of the association, I'm sure.
Exactly.
I know with your association, American Moving and Storage Association, which is why I think it's great. You have a code of ethics. I'm sure people have to follow it, and they can be kicked out if they don't follow it. So that's great to have. You want those kinds of companies. Edgar Camarillo talks about a company that he thinks is good. Carlton Bush talks about a company has always done the trick for me, affordable and good moving companies. Yeah, this is good. Some references here, so at least you can look up these companies. We're not saying by these. That's why we don't mention names, because we haven't done the research to find out if they're really that great. We're just reading them now. So you would have to do the research on them, and what we talked about before. what I do, very simple search, is just put it, go to Google or Yahoo or whatever you use and put in the company name and complaints or reviews or scam or whatever the problem is. And you usually get a pretty good idea what's going on.
Something else, look up who owns it. Look
Yeah.
up who owns the company, because sometimes, and we found this, that they'll have one company that has one name and it shuts down. It didn't do good work, or it scammed people or whatever. It shuts down, and then they'll open another company with another name,
Yeah.
same person or same family, and they're doing the same stuff, the same bad
And
practices.
then find out where they live.
Don't do that.
That's what you really want to know. Actually, the Corporation Commission, if you go to the Arizona Corporation Commission for in-state moves, you can find a lot of information right there about who are the, and that's where you can link the names. What Courtney's saying is, you said it, but I'll say it again, that just, some of these bad companies close up when the pressure's on, too many complaints, and they open up under a different name, but you have the same members or the same leaders. You can find that information out by going to the Arizona Corporation Commission, putting in entity, or actually find out who the officers were from the past company. By putting an entity, the name of that company, it'll tell you the officers, and then put those names in as officers or members and see what you find. Because you
And
could have a
it
new
sounds
company.
like a lot of work, but it really is
Easy, very
5
easy.
minutes.
Yeah.
It's 5 minutes to just take a look and see, did this guy used to own another one? And because these things, what is the company that got shut down?
I don't mention, if I mention the wrong one, it'd be bad, so I'm not going to say. I can't remember.
No, I'll say it. It was All Star, Always. Those were,
Yeah.
they were, the AG's office brought a case against
They were
them.
accused of.
And they were accused of various different things,
Yeah.
but they had various different names. They have so many different names, and people didn't know who they were hiring.
and
These
they-
are local companies I'm
Yeah.
talking about. These are not intrastate. No, these are not interstate. It's not state to state. I'm talking about local moves
Yeah.
here. This family owned so many different names
Yeah.
and were working under so many different
And
names.
that was
People
hard,
didn't know who they were
it was
hiring.
hard for us too, because we were trying to piece together, okay, does this one have to do with this one, and can we link them together as a, as a group,
Right.
to see, are they taking advantage of 10 people, or is it just one with that company? And we didn't really know who was with them, but it's pretty easy. Well, if they're actually listing the same name, sometimes they're tricky, and they're going to offer different people's names as the members, so
Yeah.
you can't kind of piece them together.
And sometimes they're not registered at all, which should be a red flag for you there.
Okay. Let's see here. We're almost done here, I think.
Well, American Moving and Storage Association, they responded to my arbitration question.
Okay.
Their arbitration program is for moves handled by their members.
Okay.
He says that they have about 4,000 interstate, now this is state to state, moving companies nationwide.
Okay.
And their website is moving.org.
Barbara Mason, they broke one of my fine china cups and saucer. Who has the time to read all that stuff when you have to leave within 3 hours of closing? Yep, it's me again. I could write a book. I bet you could, Barbara.
Barbara, you got to read that stuff.
Christine, when we first moved here, purchased a small home and used furniture, thinking ahead in case we didn't like it here, we wouldn't be out a lot of money. Moved some furniture slowly from Illinois, got several quotes, and only needed to use part of the truck at a time. Had no problems. So, okay, good. So overall, we had some good experiences here, and a lot as we get, because we are people who ask for your complaints. We get a lot of complaints. Michael, thanks for joining us. He's with the American
really
Moving and
good
Storage
stuff.
Association. Great stuff. And your organization is there. So I would, if you're a consumer, I would go there. I'd go to the other, go to the Facebook page here, let Joe know, and click on those links and share them with other people. Let people know, that these are the organizations to go through before you move. All right. Have a good one. We're on tonight at 6. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Let's see if we're on. If
I'm
she's there or
checking.
not. Kinsey? I'm probably still on, turning around.
Yes, you are. Correct.
Okay. So what else can we talk about? Some fun things?
Let's talk
What
about
do you have
lunch
going
because
on?
I'm hungry.